Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the fantasy heavyweight tournament rankings, as we are going to look at my number 15 heavyweight based on my point system, the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Corrie Sanders. Now before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, I know a lot of people are going to be like, first off, there's going to be a bunch of people that say, who? Which, I'm ashamed of you. And then they're going to be like, why? Corrie Sanders only competed in 2 heavyweight title fights. But the significance of his victory is why. And we'll get into that. But don't be fooled by, you know, in boxing, you know, maybe I'll get to this strong point about why Corrie Sanders is where he is. Maybe I'll get to that after we discuss his title, you know, what he did, who he fought, all that stuff. So Corrie Sanders, let me pull his record up here, guys, for a second. Apologies. Okay, so Corrie Sanders entered the 2000s with only 1 loss on his resume. He had made his debut way back in 1989, actually. Yeah, he made his debut way back in 1989 from South Africa. He only suffered 1 loss in 94. A second-round knockout loss against a guy named Nate Tubbs. Then he entered the 2000s. He had a decision win over Ross Purity in 97, and had been in the ring with a couple, you know, so-so heavyweights. Then in 2000, in May of 2000, he would go to war with Hasim Rahman. This is before Rahman became heavyweight champion. And he actually scored a knockdown on Rahman, but Rahman came back and stopped Sanders in the 7th round, and Sanders always had stamina issues. Didn't like to train too hard for fights, did Sanders. But then in November of 2001, about a year and a half after the loss to Rahman, he returned, and he took on a significant British heavyweight, the durable Michael Sprott, and he destroyed Michael Sprott in 1 round, knocked him out. Then he fought a guy named Otis Tisdale and stopped him in 2 rounds. And then he got a golden opportunity in March of 2003, excuse me, as he was set to challenge Dr. Steelhammer Vladimir Klitschko for the WBO heavyweight championship of the world. And he should be thankful to the fight between Klitschko and McCline, because Vladimir Klitschko was coming off of a poor performance in his biggest fight to date against Jamil McCline, where he stopped McCline in the 10th round, but it's very uneventful, slow-paced, ugly fight, and Klitschko felt like he had to prove something. So he took this fight with Sanders at the very beginning of March of 03, and he went right after Corrie Sanders, who was a big puncher himself, and it was a mistake. Sanders would catch Klitschko twice in the 1st round and put him down, and Klitschko would not be able to recover enough in the corner. They sent him out for the 2nd round, and he got put down 2 more times, and Corrie Sanders, just like that, scored a shocking 2nd round TKO victory as he captured the WBO heavyweight championship of the world with a major upset that nobody saw coming. After that huge upset over Vlad, he wanted to unify belts against Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones had defeated, I think a week or 2 after, defeated John Ruiz for the WBA title. And Corrie Sanders wanted that big-time showdown with Roy Jones, even if it cost him the WBO title, because the WBO had ordered Sanders to fight Layman Brewster. But Antonio Tarver ruined a unification fight for Corrie Sanders as he came to the post-fight press conference for Roy Jones when he defeated John Ruiz. Tarver was his #1 contender at light heavyweight, and when Tarver basically pissed on Roy Jones's moment as a heavyweight champion, it pissed Roy off. Roy was gonna fight Corrie Sanders. They had a fight in place, and Roy was too pissed off about the post-fight press conference, and he decided to go back down to light heavyweight and fight Tarver, and that would ruin Sanders' shot. So Sanders, not interested in a low-budget fight against Layman Brewster, mandatory fight, would vacate the title because another opportunity presented itself. In February of 2004, Lennox Lewis retired from the sport of boxing instead of rematching Vitaly Klitschko. So the vacant WBC title was set to go on the line in April of 2004 between Sanders and Vitaly Klitschko. Klitschko wanted revenge for the Klitschko family, and he wanted to capture that WBC belt that Lennox had held for so long. And in this one, Sanders was just looking to land one big shot, but this was a different Klitschko. Vitaly had an iron chin and would not go down, and Vitaly broke down and beat up and bloodied Corrie Sanders, stopping him in the 8th round of their fight as he captured the vacant WBC title. And just like that, Corrie Sanders was done in terms of heavyweight title fights. Over the next few years, he would only fight 4 more times, winning 2 by knockout, 1 by decision, and then he was knocked out in the 1st round of his final fight in February of 2008, and that was all she wrote for Corrie Sanders. So just like that, it was over. Only 2 heavyweight title fights for Sanders. But the significance of the destruction that he had over Vladimir Klitschko cannot be ignored. It really can't. I know a lot of people are not going to like my ranking of Corrie Sanders so high, and that's fine. But nobody else knocked out Vladimir Klitschko the way Corrie Sanders did. Klitschko was dominating Layman Brewster, and he ran out of gas in the 5th round and got stopped. Klitschko and Anthony Joshua went to war, and Klitschko looked like he was on the verge of winning the fight over Joshua when Joshua caught him and stopped him in Klitschko's last loss of the last fight of his career in 2017. But this guy absolutely destroyed Vlad in 2 rounds. And it was at a time when Vlad was probably considered to be the #2 or 3 heavyweight in the world, and was on a fast track for a showdown with Lennox Lewis. So this victory was very significant, and probably ruined any chance of Lewis and Klitschko, because they never fought, and really was, really stalled Klitschko's run before he was able to get back in there. And Klitschko was never able to avenge this loss. So Corrie Sanders, and he was tough as hell in his loss to Vitaly Klitschko. He fought hard as he could, landed a couple shots, took a beating, and they had to stop the fight in the corner because he was too bloody. But Corrie Sanders was a tough as hell fighter, big heavyweight punch, didn't like to train very hard, and that's probably why he never really made a big career. But for one shiny moment, this guy exploded onto the scene and almost had another big fight with Roy Jones. But that one win against the #1 guy on our list warrants Corrie Sanders to be in the spot that he's at number 15. So this was my number 15 heavyweight for my interactive fantasy heavyweight boxing tournament. Former WBO champion Corrie Sanders. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.